weight with weight endurance. This is a helpful hints video for week 2, session 2 of the 4-week strength maintenance plan. Just in case you're newer to these exercises, or you could use some tips on how to make them more challenging or less challenging. So I'm just going to go through, pardon me, the core set and then each of the strength set, pardon me, and give you some tips here. Because some of these movements are advanced versions of movements we first did in the 24-week Base Builder Strength program. And maybe you didn't do that program. For example, the stability ball reverse crunch. You can do this movement without the ball. Using the ball recruits your adductors, the muscles that run along the inside of your thighs, but you may not have a ball yet, or you may not be able to add that challenge. So the basic move is just a kick up and a kick out. That would be 1. Kick up, kick out. Working on keeping your low back on the ground. If you have a stability ball, and honestly the smaller the better, because this big old ball is a little bit tricky for me, is you squeeze it between your legs, kick up, kick out, kick up, kick out. And sometimes you have to fuss around with how you want to squeeze it up. Whoop, like that. All right, number 2, the plank pull through. Use light to moderate weight the first time you do this, and as you get stronger you can increase the weight. So one way to reduce the challenge is to go lighter weight. Another way is to reduce the reps. Get to a front plank position. The wider your feet are, the more stable you are. So another way to make this more difficult is put your feet in closer. But I'm going to go about shoulder width. Then you pull through, plant your hand back down. Pull through, plant your hand back down. You're trying not to wiggle your hips. So the best way to prevent the hip wiggling is to focus on squeezing your glutes. All right, number 3, we have the hamstring curl with the stability ball. The programmed movement is a single leg hamstring curl, but again, that's a more advanced version than what we first did in the Base Builder program. So if you're not sure if you can handle the single leg, or if you want a good warm-up set, do the double leg. So the double leg, or sort of the basic one, is up, squeeze in, roll out, keeping your back from sagging. And definitely it's more difficult when you do a one leg. And that garage door is in my way. So don't worry about doing the double leg if that single leg one is just too difficult for you. All right, lastly, let's get that out of the way, the clam shell. You need a short looped band for this. If you do not yet have one, and my favorite place to get these is powersystems.com, is you can actually do this movement without the band. You're just gonna lie on your side, and your knees can be bent really in whichever angle you'd like. I like to mimic the angle I'll be on my bike. Keep those hips stacked. And even without a band, you can raise and lower very slowly, and you will start activating those hip muscles. If you'd like to lift your legs up for a bigger challenge, you're lifting that top knee and lowering. Notice I'm not rocking back and forth. Of course, the real movement has the band right above your knees. I like to do it with my feet off the ground for a better challenge. It's not a huge movement. If you try to open the band too much, you'll probably find your body rocking back and forth. Keep those hips stacked. All right, those are the 4 core movements. If you have time, you'll go through each of the 4 movements 3 times. If you're short on time, do 2 sets. 2 sets is better than 0. The strength superset has 6 different movements. If you're short on time, do what you can. Pardon me. If you have time, you'll go through all 6 movements 3 times, just one after another. The first one is a kettlebell figure 8. This is best done with a heavy kettlebell. If you do not have a heavy kettlebell, just use the heaviest weight you have. It may not feel like you're doing very much. Oh, this is the, whoopsie, I did the wrong one. That's the around the world. The figure 8 is kind of like a basketball drill that I did growing up, and you're going through your legs. It's definitely challenging. Bent over like this, you're gonna feel the back of your legs and your low back working. Try not to round your back, and then you'll switch directions. Okay, so that's the figure 8. If you do not have a sufficient weight, either skip it or do the best you can. The hip thruster. That is best done with a bench, but not everyone has one available. So you may need to use your couch or a soft chair to put your shoulder blades on. So let me show you what I mean. The hip thruster is just like this. Okay, and you're going down and squeezing up. So if you don't have a bench, like I said, chair or couch, and then what I do is hold a weight just right above, or right about at my waist, and then down, and then a good squeeze, one Mississippi. If you do not have a sufficient chair or bench, you can just do it from a glute bridge on the ground. Get this stuff out of my way. And so you would just lie on the ground and then just lift up from here. That gets the same area of your glutes and low back. And that's the purpose of it. We always want to focus on strengthening that posterior chain for the best chance of being the strongest cyclist we can be. Next, we have a single arm kneeling overhead press. This is a twist on the basic press. Let me first just address that. If you'd like just to do a basic press, you can sit or stand, hopefully you can see me, and you would just press up. Okay, that's a basic one. You could sit on a bench as well. This single arm kneeling overhead press just creates a little bit more of a challenge with the instability of being on one knee. So you'd be kneeling here and press up. Your elbow could be pointed to the side or pointed forward. It doesn't really matter. I like to mix it up personally. You can play around with which knee you'd like forward. This version is a little bit more challenging. Okay, so that's the kneeling press. Next, you have the kettlebell deadlift high pull. This complex movement combines a pulling motion and working your hamstrings and glute, like a hip hinge does. I'm going to show you from the side. Start light if you aren't used to this movement. The weight, actually, I'll go this way first. Put the weight right between your legs. Hips are high, and you're really thinking about squeezing your glutes and popping your hips. So it's standing up, squeeze, pull. Okay, see from the side that I keep that back nice and flat. But it's a little bit of a power movement too. If you are familiar with kettlebell swings, it has that same general idea of squeezing your butt, popping your hips. I'll show you a couple more. Squeeze, pull, back down safely. I like to think of it as a 3-step movement. This would be 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Then we have the pistol squat. Woo, this one's definitely a good one. Again, if you don't have a bench, a chair works great, a couch works great, because it's going to catch you if you fall. In other words, a pistol squat can be done freestanding, but that's way too advanced. It's a little bit risky on your knees. We're going to use support behind our bodies. So figure out where you need to stand. One leg goes forward, use your arms for balance. Sit back, press back up. Sit back, press back up. Now if you fall down because it's too challenging, you would just plop on the bench. The movement isn't ruined. The hard work is actually getting off of the bench or the chair. So push up, back down, push up. These will really get you, so start with the 5 per leg, don't go crazy at first. If you are really good at these, you can make them more challenging by having a little lower bench or chair, and by holding a weight, and by doing extra reps. Start easy though. And then lastly, we have a broad jump. This will be a little awkward to do in a small space, but it's just a way to get an agility or a plyometric movement in, and add a little bit like a power to it. So it's a 2-footed jump to a 2-footed landing. Use your arms. It's arms swing back and forward. So it's back, jump. And just do a few of those. Don't go crazy at first as you figure out whether or not your knees or your back can tolerate the broad jumps. If you have any questions, reach out to me. Have fun.